Whether you are in a ghetto or you're a nation, guns always come back to respect. Because if you don't have a gun and the other person has a gun, then why should they listen to you if they don't like you and they don't agree with you? And they're very, very eager to have it their way. That's why if somebody is in a confrontation and they're powerless, they don't have respect. They're not gonna get it their way. You see Occupy Wall Street with guns, and then you wouldn't see them, being pepper spray. You wouldn't see them getting kicked out of the park, right? But they were just chanting, right? They were chanting, "Please give us this, please give us that." They were powerless, and the people who have power know it because they have power, right? See, if you have power, then you know what power is. If you're powerless, then maybe you do, maybe you don't. And apparently a lot of people that are powerless, they just don't know what power is. So they just go out in the street and ask for stuff and demand for stuff, and they don't get it. And then they don't get why they didn't got it. But because they were powerless. So Occupy Wall Street didn't got anything. Well, they really weren't for much of anything except, this inequality is ridiculous, it is ridiculous, but they have no power to enforce anything. And it also applies to nations. You see Iraq, they said they didn't have weapons of mass destruction. United States said they did, and so they went and bombed them. So probably the people in power knew that they didn't have any weapons, right? But hey, they had some other stuff that they were interested into, and their word wasn't, of much weight because they really truly didn't have weapons of mass destruction. You see North Korea, they do have nukes. They're open about it, and until today I haven't seen one bullet, being shot at North Korea. None, right? So their word kinda does present some weight, and it never comes that the entire military is against their population, because soldiers are just not gonna turn around and kill their children and wife, because they know that they will not be able to come back and say, "Hey, honey, I'm home," and everyone's just dead and shot. They're not gonna do that. So every time you have a revolution, you have part of the military also against the oppressors. Unfortunately, there are a lot of stupid people, and of course they're still gonna have a lot of soldiers, just obeying them. But there's a lot of the military turning out against them also, and plus the military is only a tiny portion of a population. So the soldier has 100 bullets, you have only one bullet, but you have 10,000 people. You're gonna win, okay? I don't care if he knocks off some people. If the situation is bad enough, you're still gonna win. So guns are about respect, really, because people tend not to be irrational. They tend to just obey power and fear power, and that's what it's all about, right? We are not civilized yet. Maybe one day we will be, and there will be no need for guns at all. But for now, that's the way it is. And you can say, well, other cultures don't have as many weapons as the United States, and they're a lot less violent. Well, but that violence it is evenly spread. It's not just gun violence, but it's also financial violence that is not expressed. They're more equal, so their culture is less violent, right? The boss is not a gruesome difference between the worker in salary wise, and in the same way people are not violent in other areas. So it's not just a tiny portion of the violence that happens in America, that has to do with guns. But other than that, everything is fine. No, it has financial violence. It has social stratification, and all that is type of violence is just not as loud as a gun or covered by the media as guns are. But the violence, it's evenly spread. It's not just concentrated in one area. And I think that's why we still need guns. Unfortunately, we're not ready to be unarmed.